Welcome to Fresh Fishing. I'm Wayne.
I'm Foxy.
And today we're going to talk about the 5 mistakes beginners make when out on the bank fishing.
Yes, we are. Yeah, if you are new to the channel though, please do hit the like button and click the subscribe button. It massively helps out the channel, and we are trying to hit that magical 10k, so please do get involved and join the Fresh Fishing family.
Please.
So we've got 5 mistakes for you today. The first one being,
remember, we need a rod license. We
do.
need a fishing license to go out and catch these fish that we want to catch, whether it be on a private lake,
Yeah.
you know, that's owned by landowner, etc., or a public lake.
yeah, rivers,
whether you're out on the rivers.
reservoirs,
Yep.
anything.
So,
It could be, if you're watching this and you're from the US, we don't know what the laws are in different countries. We're talking about UK specifically.
Yes,
you need a
we
rod license, otherwise you're poaching. And yeah, you can go on .gov.uk and get it.
Yeah.
Pretty easy. You can get a day, a week, or a year, I think
yeah.
it is. Isn't
And
it?
you can choose between a trout license or a course license. So yeah, make sure you know which license you need.
How many rods you need, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So that is the first mistake. Don't get caught short because there is fines in place. So yeah, the second one that we thought was a good one to have on the list is not doing your research. I remember years back when I kind of first started fishing, like without my dad, because obviously when your dad's there, he does everything for you.
Let's actually put it out there. Years ago, when we first started fishing, though, there weren't the access to the internet like there is now. So you couldn't really do your research.
The research you can do nowadays is incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying to you before, wasn't I? I literally knew one way of fishing, and that was the only way to fish. And I went to the same place. I didn't really know what was in the lake. So like that type of thing. So.
Yeah. So basically, understand what your target fish is.
Yeah.
Make sure you've got the right equipment to catch that target fish. Understand just make sure you're not going to get caught short with anything really.
Yeah.
In terms of kind of rigs, baits, etc. You can do some research on that also.
The equipment that you need for the type of fish that you're going for. Even now I'm starting to get into a bit of perch fishing, and I've been doing a bit of research on how to catch them, what the best way to catch them is, that kind of thing. So goes a long way, doesn't it?
Yeah. So obviously, without doing that, what mistakes can that bring on the bank?
Without doing your research, well, like you say, you could get caught short. You might not have the right equipment to land the type of fish that you're going for. You might be thinking you're doing the right thing with a particular rig or something, especially with perch fishing, and you might be miles off and they might not go for it, that kind of thing.
Exactly. So just do that research to prevent you from wasting your time, basically.
Like we say, nowadays with YouTube and the internet, there is tons of information out there, but also maybe too much to a degree. So kind of refine it and try and make sure you're getting it from a good source.
Mistake number 3 is, if you buy cheap the first time, you end up buying twice. And we found that. So
Both experienced it.
Not so much kind of in the early days, but when we started getting into the specimen carp fishing, I think the first sort of few reels that I bought were, I don't know, 20 quid, 25 quid maybe.
Bait runners,
Bait runner reels, and yeah, they malfunctioned on me basically. I had a run, take, and I was a little bit away from my rods, and literally
Not too far.
It just locked up as I approached it, snapped off,
Yeah.
rod nearly went in the water.
Yeah.
And that was definitely because it was a cheap reel.
And I've done it before. I can't think of a particular instance like that, but I've done it on multiple things. But I think, again, we were saying before recording this, nowadays, you almost don't need to spend the world, because there is some obviously budget brands which are actually really good, like what they're producing nowadays. I think a while back you'd have to really go for the top level brands and stuff if you wanted to really get good gear, but now you can go for the kind of mid-level brands, and you can get some really good gear for a decent budget, can't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely it's worth spending your money, and like with everything, clothes, all that, it lasts longer, doesn't it?
100%.
It stands like the test of time, doesn't it? So it's worth spending that extra few quid
at the beginning.
Because
let's face it, we buy cheap because we don't know whether we're going to really enjoy it, if you're starting out, etc.
Yeah.
But just invest that money because you're going to love it.
Yeah, exactly. Fishing is ace, absolutely ace. Yeah, so fourth on the list, we've got don't overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
Now, it's a little bit, you know, we said do our research and stuff like that, but I've been there in the past. When we first got into specimen fishing, I think when we did feeder fishing, that was very simple. We knew what we were doing. We just feeder fished. Once you'd got the rig and that, you were golden. You could just go and do it anywhere. When we got into specimen fishing, there's a world of different rigs and baits and everything, and, you know, different ways to set up your rigs, all that kind of stuff. And I very much got in like the YouTube kind of rabbit hole of looking at different rigs, looking at what Daryl Peck's doing, Tom Dove, and jumping about too much.
Yeah.
And I struggled at the start, I did. Whereas Wayne, when he started, he pretty much took method feeder fishing and took it into his carp fishing and knew the rig and everything like that, and he had a bit better success.
But I also just stuck with kind of one rig constantly all the time. I always had faith in it. I just felt that it was going to work for me all the time, so I just stuck with it. And I think, yeah, where you kind of bounced around and didn't have as much luck.
Well, that was it. I didn't have the faith because I was bouncing around.
Yeah, exactly.
So by actually choosing a way and a rig or whatever, a particular way to fish, and consistently fishing that way, then you obviously start to trust it in that. And now I'm probably at that point now, aren't I, where I've got a particular rig that I absolutely love. I know what I'm doing with it. I know it's golden, and I know we're good. And again, back to the perch fishing, that's the same. I'm doing drop shot fishing, and that's all I'm doing. Because you can do different jerking and lures and all sorts of stuff. But I'm just going to do the drop shot fishing and learn that first. So yeah, that's definitely a really good one.
And lastly, mistake number 5.
Last but not by no means least, and this is a mistake that we made.
Yeah.
And I think everyone does it.
You see it on the bank all the time. People making mistakes with their fish care, whether it be, you know, not having the right size landing net, or whether they've even bought a landing net.
Having a mat.
Having a landing mat, even just something to protect the fish, no matter what kind of size. If you're going to have it laid out on the deck, then let's just have it protected. Yeah. Obviously, holding fish while stood up, I'm guilty of that. I did that right at the beginning.
I was saying to you, wasn't I? Like I remember sending a video that we'd done to the owner of one of the fisheries around here, and saying, "Oh, what do you think of it?" And he was like, "Yeah, really good video and that." But you were stood up with the carp, and you should always be on the floor. And, you know, obviously if you stood up with a fish, it's got a metre or so to fall. So if you're on the floor, then, you know, it doesn't have that distance to fall. So
yeah, so we see, we've done it ourselves, and we see, you know,
you see it on social media, don't you, all the time?
Those mistakes all the time.
But it's not until you watch a video like this, or someone tells you, like it happened to us, the owner of a fishery told us, actually, lads, you should be doing this. So I think also, if you do see it, give people a break.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we all start somewhere, and you need to be told in order to know it. And that's why we kind of put this video together as well. So, but I think it's a good little one to end on, isn't it?
Yeah. So if you are a beginner, hopefully this has given you a little bit of help. Obviously, listen, there's a lot that you could kind of go into with regards to this, but just, you know, keep it simple on the bank, do your research, treat everyone around you, including the fish, with respect. Yeah. And enjoy.
We almost put that one in, didn't we? Treat other anglers and have a bit of etiquette and that when you're out on the bank. But I think that does go without saying. So yeah.
Hope you've enjoyed the video. And if you have, click that like button for us. And if you don't subscribe, you know what to go and do. Go and click that subscribe button as well. Click the alarm bell so you get notified for the next time we put out new content.
And we will see you in the next one.
See you in the next one.
Cheers, guys.